All right, welcome back to Card Talk. I'm one of the hosts, Ryan, and we've got a big episode today. Lots to talk about, a lot of exciting stuff from the weekend we want to get into. We've got an awesome interview planned today with Lee Steinfeld, aka Leonhart from YouTube. He's a big player in the Pokémon game right now. He's got almost 1 million subscribers on YouTube, so we've got a nice interview set up with him. We're gonna get into in a little bit, but gonna kick it off today with a mailbag. So pass it over to Tyler and get started with that.
Yes, sir. All right. So we got a couple different things in here today, and let me see where the question is. From Skins to Fins Collector. We appreciate you reaching out, Jack. Jack says, really enjoyed the first episode. In what order would you guys rank the current markets for hockey, soccer, baseball, basketball, and football?
Okay, so
right, the way that I like to frame a lot of these things up is your day-to-day working in your shop, customers coming in, customers coming out. What are you seeing? What's hot
right now? Definitely basketball. Basketball is number one. It's not really close. I think it might vary across the country, but in terms for me, it's definitely going to be football too. I live in a college town. Being 10 minutes from Ohio State really helps. So for me, it's going to go basketball, football. Recently, I would put soccer 3. I've sold a lot of Finest Soccer, a lot of Chronicle Soccer. I know we're going to talk about that in a minute. So I would probably go basketball, football, soccer, baseball, and then hockey. I do sell a lot of hockey, but the hockey market's just not going to be able to really compete with baseball or even soccer at the moment. So that's what I would get. But Lou, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think for me, I would say basketball, football. For me personally, it's going to be baseball ahead of soccer, but I understand soccer is a pretty big marketplace. And then hockey coming in last for sure.
Yeah. I want to boil the question down a little bit of which has the most demand for product right now, and there's a lot of different ways we can look at that, a lot of ways we can think about that. Obviously, the explosion of basketball globally over the last 5 to 10 years has far surpassed the growth of baseball, of hockey for sure, and I think why you're seeing soccer climb a lot is because if you're recently into basketball in the last 10 years, NBA culture, and you're coming into the card game, that's going to be number one. So if you're a new consumer, you're like, okay, basketball, obviously, boom. If you've been around a lot longer, I think it started with baseball, you understand the dynamics, and now there's probably been an increase in product on the basketball side. Mosaic just came out. Prism now is 8 years old. And I think why people are feeling soccer is ripping hot because there's probably a convergence of both newer product coming out, a la what we just saw with Chronicles, and also an explosion here in the U.S. in the interest in the sport for a lot of different factors. COVID's happened recently, and I just got a text message that I need to not pay attention to. So I think that's I think from it's about demand, right? And I actually try to skate to where people aren't paying attention as much and where demand might go next. And I think that people like Sidney Crosby, Malkin, and the hockey side there could be a lot there. I could see an uptick in terms of people going into that space and saying, some of these legends, some of these guys, Bobby Orr, what have you, just haven't been tapped into. Gretzky, for that matter. I think hockey could get there. But yeah, obviously I'm a big soccer guy. Basketball is next. I don't even think about baseball. And then hockey, I'm lightly intrigued by.
I think the big thing, Tyler, is you talk a lot about demand. I almost view it as sort of the opposite. To me, it's more of a supply thing. I think one of the biggest things soccer's so hot right now is there's just not a lot out there. You don't have a ton of soccer products like you do basketball. I mean, we have a basketball product coming out every other week at this point. When the season was going, it was typically every week. There's a lot more basketball out there. There hasn't been a soccer release in months. So that to me is the big thing. We talked about it last week with Mason Greenwood rookies, the 18-year-old star phenom from Man U, right? He doesn't have any cards at all. So you put him in this, he's got his first card. There's a lot of other guys like that in there. I know Mason Mount's in there from Chelsea. So to me, it's more of a supply thing.
And what was crazy is he literally went the next day and bagged 2 goals. Monday we talked about him. Tuesday they played. He stuck 2, and then the product came out on Wednesday.
So
yeah, that was like a crazy little like sequence of events because like you talked about it. I could not have been more wrong about it. I'm ready to own that one for sure. And then like it's just crazy. Like we were talking about it in our Instagram chat. It was like, where do you guys see the soccer like prospect thing going? And I do think it's gonna end up a lot like baseball, where the top high end prospects are going to go for super crazy. I think that $240 for a base card of a guy is way too high personally. Yeah, no matter what, which is what Greenwood's going for, right? In a lot of cases. Yeah. I think that's way too high personally, but I do think there's going to end up being a situation where as the soccer products increase, which is what they're going to do, there's going to be demand for the high end guys. How much it sticks, I don't know.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Lou, is with demand as high as it is now, supply will increase, right? That's coming. There are gonna be more. Mason Greenwood has 1 card now or 2 cards now in Chronicles. He will have a lot more in the coming weeks, or in the coming months. That's definitely gonna change. But
and to that point, I love, because what I don't want people to listen to this and say, oh, Mason Greenwood is going to be huge. He's a huge prospect. He's performing well. Oh my goodness, there's only one way his card can go up. I'd love to just have you two kind of thread it a little bit with maybe a big prospect that came out in Bowman that was ripping hot, that maybe had a good entrance into the league, and 24 months later, their card's trading down. Yeah, and like, just through our fantasy baseball, Lou. Yeah, Vlad. Just talk about that for a second. As Greenwood, to your point, you pull him out of a $200 product. His base card is selling for $2+ raw on eBay right now. There haven't even been any graded. I'd love to just kind of what that means to me is someone that is half the price selling raw at 100, who might end up having a greater career. There's more room to go up. Yeah, we'd just love to hear about Vlad. What happened there?
Well, we talk a lot about it with FOMO, right? Like you don't want to miss out on the next guy, so everybody sells well. So Vlad, his dad played. He was supposed to be this next big deal, could hit a baseball out of the park every time he hit the ball. So his stuff sold so well when it was first coming out. I mean, 9, 5, 10 autos were insane. I just remember it being the card everybody wanted. And then he comes into the league and he just isn't hitting the ball.
He's a DH. That's what he is.
Yeah. So his stuff took a hit because he just wasn't, Mike Trout. So that's the big thing is you set expectations so high with FOMO, with everybody wanting everybody. And a lot of these guys just can't live up to that expectation.
Yeah. Vlad specifically is actually a very good case, Ryan. Like, there was a year and a half of Instagram videos of Vlad Guerrero Jr. hitting bombs, and people were like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. And then he came up to the majors, and he was in, I want to say it was Series 2 he was in, his top rookie, and it was like a no-number card, so people went crazy for it. And that card is no longer as hot as it was when it first came out. I can guarantee you. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head. But I think a lot of it is FOMO. You're right. I think that's a big part of the soccer market right now.
Yep.
I just think, guys, what's going to end up happening is there's going to be some people who are 18 and they end up being 22 and they're on, Everton or something. And it's not that interesting anymore.
Yep.
Well, yeah. I want to kind of transition into our next topic here because Tyler brings up a good point. He said, you hit a Mason Greenwood out of a $200 product. Chronicles was $240 on release day last Wednesday and hit $399 a box the very next morning. So this product has come out of the gate and is absolutely on fire with the resale market of what these guys are selling for. Again, Mason Greenwood, Mount for Chelsea, Tyler's guy from Barca. I don't know how to pronounce.
Ansu Fati.
Yep. So it's come out of the gate. So I just want to get your guys' current take on the soccer market because these sales indicate it's really hot right now.
Yeah. And this is just a little bit of a carryover thought, just what we just touched on. Yeah. Right here. Boom. Right. 405. is what it's going for.
And Tyler, just for those listening on audio, it's looking up a Chronicles Fat Pack box from this year's soccer. Went for $405, so roughly $30 and change a pack.
So I think what I wanted to just carry over is what you if you're new to the game, you should look at the field like we just talked about, all those different sports, and what are you passionate about and what do you know? And if the answer is neither, then you should spend some time researching, and you can do that on lower end purchases, try some buy and sell. But the FOMO aspect of it is a hard game to play because at the end of the day, all economies, everything is going to go up and it's going to go down and it's going to go up and it's going to go down. And so as an investor, if you're purely playing the game of I want to put money into this situation because I want to get more money out of it, you need to be thoughtful about where things are when they're peaking at the buying, just like sneakers, right? If you were on the game super early and you picked up a pair of off-whites, non-Nike collab before because you knew who Virgil was, and then all of a sudden it gets hot and peaks and you're selling it at the top. But if you're buying the 20th off-white release from Nike thinking that you're going to resell it and those margins come back at 4% and you had to pay a 5% transaction fee, it's just you got to be thoughtful. And so I think that's what we're seeing here with Mason Greenwood is there's probably a bit of a FOMO, but also you got to realize that this is a bet, high risk, high reward prospecting, right? That's what that Bowman game was a lot of. That's not buying a Mike Trout right now. That's not buying Kevin Garnett right now, knowing that his Hall of Fame thing is coming in X amount of months, and he might deliver a big speech trading off that margin. That this is like he's 18 and he might be the next Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
You know what happens there? He's probably not going to be.
He's probably not going to be. And also just like on the Bowman thing is like $7 for a Chrome, not $325 for a paper Contenders.
Yeah, that's a key point there, Lou.
How was Ryan? How was it in the store and like breaks for you?
Huge. We didn't break any of it. I only ended up getting 2 cases of it. The case I had sold out by the end of Thursday. So I got it Wednesday, sold out the end of Thursday. Ended up getting a couple extra loose boxes, so I take that back. But it was gone immediately.
And do you have a read on how many of it was first time soccer people? Was the product hot enough that people that have been long in the game were like, okay, I'm going to test soccer with here? Like, are we seeing some innovation in the soccer side of the market? Or was it a lot of new people in the hobby thinking soccer and going there?
Yeah, I think it was split. There was definitely a lot of collectors that actually collect soccer, knew a bunch about it. You know, I even got to learn a lot because I'm certainly not the soccer expert. So I got to learn a lot, but there was definitely a group of people who break or invest or like are doing this as a business and see the sales and say, hey, this is a good rip. Because I mean, it's hard. From what I saw, it was hard to lose money when you're getting rookies and inserts that are selling for hundreds of dollars on top of the main chase cards in there with the autographs, the patches, things like that. So it was split, but good to see new faces in there, but also good to see that soccer people, you know, the soccer collectors who haven't had much, getting something new to enjoy and to rip and pull something cool of guys they've been following for a while because they've put the work in.
And do you feel that there is that generally in the market, like better, more superior things line up weirdly, a product's put together really well, some prospects are bubbling up, and all of a sudden a single product comes out of nowhere and explodes? Like, is it a tip to Cap Panini? They really put together a good product here? Or are we seeing just market dynamics and like any product could have come out right now and it probably would have exploded?
I think Chronicles is a good product. I'm very big on the Chronicles brand amongst any sport. But this is definitely a case of there isn't any option to buy. Soccer's playing. These guys have no cards at all. So I'm going to lean more towards there's no other alternative for any of these guys' cards. Like it's definitely a market thing for me.
Mm-hmm. There's a Topps Chrome coming out soon too, right? Like next week, I want to say.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at the very end for the release. But yeah, Bunfling, it's gonna be big.
That'll be a good test too, I think, for like the overall health of the market.
For sure.
Love it.
Yeah. So jumping over just update on the week. I wanted to get into Pokemon a little bit. Ryan, I'm not sure if you had something else beforehand.
No, I was joking. I wasn't sure who had the next question. So I was looking at my list. I was like, I don't know who has the next question.
Yeah, jumping over to Pokemon. I think we're going to keep harping on it on this podcast because we love Pokemon, Tyler and myself, and I think Ryan's starting to fall in love with it as well. It's getting kind of nuts right now. I think what's going on with the first edition PSA 10s and even the shadowless PSA 10s and 9s right now is pretty interesting. Tyler, like you and I talked about it a couple months ago. What have been your takeaways the last couple of weeks? And where do you think it's heading right now?
Yeah, I look, there's a massive increase of interest in all things cards. I think first it started and went heavy boom NBA. Then what we've seen is a lack of sports, and then the movement into breaking. I think collectible in general versus flip investing. I think when people see Pokemon and they think Pokemon, it's like, okay, this can be a storage of value much longer term. And I also think it comes with a unique angle of, okay, I see what's going on in the card market. I see this is a hobby that I can get interested in. There's just sometimes people are into it. Collecting, it's human nature to collect, to hoard, to have things around you. It's very seen as like a mindless thing to not keep things near you. We do that as humans. But I think what happens with Pokemon is that, okay, I want to get into this. There's Pokemon. Oh, guess what? There's also Pokemon Go, like arguably one of the biggest mobile games out right now. You can fire up your old Game Boy and play Red or Blue. Or Nintendo Switch in the last 12 months released a big time Pokemon game. 2 new games have come out. The anime is all over Netflix. There's big time YouTube content creators. I think when you go into Pokemon, you start to see, okay, this is a bit more drawn out. This isn't Soccer Chronicles is the only product on the market. This is ripping, like I got to get in FOMO. This is like, okay, this is a longer term hold and a much more fun conversational charm. Everyone knows who Charmander is. Everyone knows who Pikachu is. The amount of people that know Pikachu compared to Tyler Hero, like is crazy,
close,
right? So I think that's what you're starting to see, and I feel great about people getting into it and what's happening. And I think from a PSA pop report, it's like it's a whole different game, and I think it's got miles and miles to go. And I think from a value perspective, it's going to blow the socks off some people over the next 36 months, knowing, and we're going to listen to this interview with Leonhart, but 25th anniversary coming up, what's happening in direct to kind of TV releases and how that plays into the Pokemon world much more. They don't have to drum up huge movie, straight to theater releases that cost mega bucks. And so I'm a big fan. I love it. I love the nostalgia aspect. I love the creatures. I love the characters. I read something last week that was like, who's going to create the next version of Neopets? Like the internet's craving like an interconnected game, like a new Farmville or something like that. I think that plays right into this pocket too.
Farmville was so
Farmville.
lit.
Wow, that was a blast from the past.
Like,
I love that game.
Like the Pokemon's so set up to play in those arenas that it's still early in the Pokemon buying game. The pop reports are so low, and like it's just wild.
Yeah, real quick, me and you talk about the Fortnite like RPG extended universe thing. The Pokemon RPG is like it's just there waiting for everyone. Okay, anyway, so Ryan, you're a little bit of a newer Pokemon guy in the last couple months, mostly because of us. So I'm interested from you especially.
Yeah, I mean, when I first opened my store, I wanted to have like a little bit of I wanted to have diversity, right? I wanted to have a little bit of everything. So I went out, got some Pokemon, right? I did it when I was younger. So I knew enough about it. Like I know Charizard, Charmander, Pikachu, that kind of stuff. But I'm definitely fascinated with it, especially recently. As we've talked about before, the spike over the last couple months, last year or so. But I think the population report is a really big aspect of this that is often severely overlooked, right? Like with Pokemon, right? First edition shadowless cards you're talking less than 100 PSA 10s, where
fairly often it's under 100.
Yeah, fairly often it's under 100. Where Zion had 100 PSA 10 prisms. The first 2 days the product was out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a big thing for me in this is how few there actually are on some of these higher grades. Because, I mean, these cards are what, 22, 23 years old?
They're 20 years old, 1999.
Yeah, 20 years old. Since
Yeah.
a lot of them have come out. It's astounding how low the population report is on a lot of these.
Yeah, like Chansey, who is not a no-name Pokemon in the world of Pokemon. First edition, PSA 10, holographic, has 46 in the world.
And this is not going up in a real way at all. The thing people are confused about with Pokemon is they think like, oh, I'm just gonna be able to pull them out of the binder in my room. Like, no, what you have is the unlimited. You have base 2. You do not have that's not true. There's some people who have first edition.
Probably more people in the state of California with Chansey tattoos on their body than there are.
Yes.
First edition, right? Like PSA 10. And that matters. And I think in some, like, if you equate it to other areas, if you talk about a Cause statue or a Basquiat or a Rolex, if there was 46 of a Rolex, like, and you buy it now and you pass it down generation upon generation, like, there's not much difference in that game. Guess what? There's exponentially more people interested in having a Chansey than there are a Rolex.
Yeah, Tyler, real quick, I really appreciate when you bring this stuff up because like the Cause thing and the Basquiat thing and like that stuff is something that I don't even think about a lot. I'm sure Ryan doesn't as well. Like the stuff is really limited. Like 645 Charmanders is considered astronomical.
Yeah.
So Tyler's scrolling through the PSA popular report again for those listening on audio, and a lot of the PSA 10s we're seeing here on some of these first editions are.
Tyler, can you filter it by first edition? Just go to the top and type in first.
Yeah. Let's see.
That'll keep it.
Even for not being first, there's a lot of these that are low.
This is what we've seen in basketball, right? Where the Luka Prism has started to price people out. They go to Optic, they go to Select, they go to NBA Hoops. What's going to end up happening is there's going to be people who are like, all right, I can't get the Charmander first edition. That one's X amount. I can't get the Shadowless. That one's Y amount. I'm going to go look at the unlimited set for first edition, 1999. And like, I think all that's like super real. This whole set. Sorry.
And we were laughing. There's a funny comment. Someone was like, a Haunter, like the ghost Pokemon for like the emo kids. And like the storytelling behind all of this is astronomical, right? Disney bought Star Wars for, I think, a couple billion. I probably am going to be wrong on the exact number, so I'm not going to go there. An insanely high amount off of 6 movies, and it's now comics. There's the lower end animated versions, everything. Just extrapolate. The storytelling built into Pokemon already, and then to know that there's the first edition and there's different sets, Fossil, Jungle, Rocket Challenge, back to getting knowledgeable about things before you go into it. There's just layers upon layers upon layers. But the joke was, someone was like, the ghost Pokemon was for the emo kids. Nothing like playing with your Haunter card while listening to Taking Back Sunday in the background. And I just thought it was
on that one.
It was like hilarious because I'm like, there's so many different layers, there's so many different factors within Pokemon that make it super interesting, and I think can be an entire conversation and collectible on its own. And so I'm pumped for everyone to be able to listen to this convo with Leon and how he made his whole life around Pokemon content creation.
So speaking of that interview with Lee Steinfeld, Leonhart, also known on YouTube, with nearly 1 million subscribers, we got to sit down with him recently and talk all things Pokemon and why the next 12 months are going to be so big for the Pokemon game as the 25th anniversary is approaching. So here is that interview.
All right, sweet. Well, welcome everybody. That was a fun 15 minutes of pre-banter that you guys won't get to enjoy, but we'll do a little bit of recreating it here now. I'm incredibly excited personally. And I know the whole team is, and when we got connected last week on social and just watching what's been going on in your world, Lee, thankful to have you here joining us on Card Talk and be able to chop it up about Pokemon a little bit. I'm not going to waste everyone's time on trying to introduce you. I'd love to just toss it over to you and have you just give a quick synopsis of who you are, what you got going on, and what your world's looked like over the last couple of weeks.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate y'all taking the time to have me on. I'm very excited about this. I'll give the quick Spark Notes version of myself, I like to call it. So I actually went to UT in Austin. After that, I went to law school, was a practicing attorney for a while. I started up my YouTube channel in November of 2014, and I found my old Pokemon card collection. And from there, it's been an absolute wild ride of opening up new Pokemon cards, vintage Pokemon card packs, to where now the channel has grown to close to 1 million subscribers at the moment. And it's been a wild ride. Every single day is a different day.
Love it. And when you started your YouTube channel in 2014, was it off the back? Did you find your cards and say, I think there's something here? Or were you more into, you wanted to do content? I know you have a little bit of background acting and content in general. Was it, hey, I need to start a YouTube channel, and then figured out what you were going to do? Or was it, hey, this Pokemon thing, and started the YouTube channel?
So it's kind of just, it's interesting because I would watch other big YouTubers like Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, random other ones that are not even around anymore. And I really wanted to use the platform to raise money for different types of charities, but at the same time doing something I'm passionate in, which is retro nostalgic video gaming, like top 10 list. So if you go on my channel, and my very, very first cringy video is still there, is talking about, I want to use this channel to do different retro top 10 lists for Nintendo 64 and PlayStation. Maybe about a few months later, I found my Pokemon card collection at my parents' house. I did a video showcasing that collection, and I found those videos to not only do very well performance-wise, but I myself really enjoyed going through those collections, which led up to opening up the newer sets.
And did you have any heat in there? Or was it just like...
No, I had a first edition Alakazam card, which is one of the original cards that came out in the late 90s. But the thing is, I got it immediately graded by PSA, and it came back a PSA 5. I was still very, very proud of that, but a 5 out of 10, right in the middle, which is actually very difficult to get if you think about it. But
and I think the old collection from way back in the day, then getting that graded has a little bit of a different feel than maybe even some of the newer stuff that you pull and send in.
Yeah. I don't send in too much of the newer stuff at the moment, unless it's like a super, super rare card, maybe like obviously a Charizard card, but it's a whole nother ball game when you're sending in the older cards compared to the new cards. And that being said, the newer cards aren't in perfect condition, even when you pull them out straight from a pack. There's a lot of off-center cards or some type of scratches or whitening on the cards. But if like the old ones, though, I mean, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yep. And so before we get into the whole Pokemon world, really around nostalgia and gaming, what are some of your favorite kind of like nostalgic IP outside of the Pokemon world?
I mean, I love video games, and I've been playing.
Do you have a favorite like Sonic or favorite kind of character?
So I still remember to this day back in 1992, I was 5 years old, and my parents picked me up from the local like swimming pool, where I was at. And when I got into the car, and my mom at the time drove like a Volvo or something, so we had a massive trunk where I would go in the back and you can actually face like outside while sitting in the seats in the back. I sat back there, but there was something on the side seat. It was actually a new Sega Genesis console. And that year was like the first year that specific one came out. So I've loved Sonic the Hedgehog, like massive fan for years and years, even, some of the newer stuff that's come out. But yeah, probably like Sega Genesis, Sonic, and a little Nintendo in there too.
Yep. Do you have a favorite Pokemon video game title?
Well, I don't know if you've seen some of the more recent news, but a new Pokemon Snap game is coming out. And right behind me, I don't know if you can see it in my video, I have one of the original Pokemon Snap machines from Blockbuster that they had 20 years ago. And it's a fully functioning machine and everything, like it prints and everything. But I would probably say, I know it's weird, but like I really loved Pokemon Snap when I was growing up, and to hear that they're coming out with a new one is amazing. But otherwise, you can't go wrong with the original games for Game Boy, Pokemon Blue and Red. Yeah.
So now, and get into a little bit of the conversation. So 2014, you started a YouTube channel. You're like, I'm going to do YouTube. I think I'm not sure at that time, and just knowing a little bit of your backstory from just doing some research, you did some voice acting, get into content. You're like stumble across, doing Pokemon, and you just really enjoyed it. What was then the next couple years?
So the next year, it's so crazy because I always have to bring in the type of, the landscaping of YouTube, because as I'm sure y'all know, the algorithm stuff is crazy. It's always changing for YouTube. And just starting in November of 2014 and going from 2014, the algorithm changed later that year, to 2015, to especially where Pokemon Go came out in 2016. everybody was doing Pokemon stuff in 2016, that summer of July. And that's when my channel just like really exploded because of all the craze of Pokemon Go. There was a new set called Evolutions TCG that came out for Pokemon where it was a reprint of the original base set. That got a lot of other people collecting the card game again. So throughout the years, the channel would occasionally go up, but like 2016 went up. And then ever since then, it's just kind of like, it just kept on climbing, especially for something like a specific niche like Pokemon cards.
So to that point, over the last 6 years, and you feel there's just been a growth, up and to the right. Mm-hmm. Explain a little bit of maybe the last 6 months, comparatively speaking. I feel like a lot of people, and setting the context for this conversation, and mm-hmm. We talk so much about cards, right? The hobby, buying and selling sports cards, either collecting from a more hobby perspective, but also the opportunity that new demand has created. Do you feel we're in a white hot moment right now, or kind of add a little context over the last 6 years to what's happening right now, to heading into the 25th anniversary, just of the demand around Pokemon content, nostalgia, etc.?
Well, it's interesting because the brand overall I think is like the healthiest ever. Like, yeah, you can go back in the late 90s when it first came out, and like I'd be in middle school and the teachers would run out and tell everybody, put your Pokemon cards away. And this was when like everybody was playing Pokemon. But ever since then, the IP, the brand of Pokemon has been growing. And it's not just as far as like how the Pokemon cards are doing, like how their value-wise are doing. Like they're more hot than ever, the Pokemon card game. But as far as like the actual like games themselves, those are with the new Pokemon Sword and Shield that came out. There was new DLC that just came out. Those are just growing and more popular than ever. And it's all just kind of bundled up together like a big snowball effect, to where getting into next year, which is going to be the 25th anniversary, where I personally think it's just going to be absolutely insane. Like I wonder what Pokemon's going to come out with, what type of celebrations, what type of commemorative maybe cards, new card sets and everything that they're going to come out with for the 25th anniversary. I think it's going to be insane. But the market for Pokemon cards, the market for just Pokemon in general, it's healthier than ever right now.
So Lee, I actually, like we talked offline, I own a sports card store, and one of the things I get asked a lot is there's so many different brands, there's so many different cards. If you're getting into the card game now, where do you start? So as someone that doesn't do a lot of Pokemon, right, if you want to get into the card game with all these different sets, all the originals, where do you recommend someone that knows nothing about Pokemon cards specifically? Where would you recommend they start?
Well, obviously you want to come watch my channel on YouTube, because then you'd find a lot of how-to videos on like where to start. Shameless plug, #shameless plug.
Hell yeah.
But honestly, I have a lot of videos, especially one recently where it tells you how to find the values of your Pokemon cards. Because you can go on eBay right now and you'll see like a Machamp first edition card that came in the original starter deck, where you find it in your closet and you're like, holy, I have an amazing card. You go on eBay and it's listed for $5,000, but that's just the listed price. So a lot of times my first question that I'll ask people is, what type of cards are you interested in? Is it only purely the older sets? Is it some of the middle sets that came out in the later 2000s? Or is it the new cards? A lot of times I will suggest, go check out, open up some packs, see what's in the newer sets. And then from there, dab into some of the older sets. And now, of course, you can start with the older sets. And as I've said before, the market for those is kind of just, it's kind of just increasing right now. I don't think it's ever going to go down, and it'll plateau, of course. But I would tell them, dab into both, see what you like. And from there, kind of find out the sets that maybe you collected when you were younger. Because a lot of times I'll see people like, you all have your own missions of like, I want this specific card because I enjoyed that as a kid. Or I want that specific card because that's the card to go get right now. That's going to be the best card to invest in right now. Yeah. And so that's where I ask them, kind of, what are your wants? And there they'll tell me.
On the speaking to some of the newer product, what do you stay pretty tapped into just all the releases coming out? What's like the latest card release from Pokemon?
So actually later in July, there's going to be pre-release events for a new set that comes out in August called Darkness Ablaze. And I bring that up specifically because not only is that going to be the newest and brightest Pokemon set, part of the new Pokemon Sword and Shield set that's out, there's going to be a new Charizard card that is in that set, which means I'm going to have to open up tons and tons of Pokemon packs and not pull it for over a year, and then finally pull it in the library at all places like I did my last one. But that being said, Charizard card, new set, Darkness Ablaze, it's going to be a new card that people are going to be wanting to go for. And that's going to be kind of like the newest thing.
And so even in the contemporary, the community that is following Pokemon right now, right? Whereas I think there's also a subset that is still loves Pokemon, but really just equates it to that blue-red, that 1999.
So are you
listeners here, people that are looking to invest in Pokemon or get into the hobby and want to pay attention to some of the newer stuff? Anything that jumps out in your mind?
Yeah, so as far as like the newer stuff, there's a set called Hidden Fates, and it's like a subset of a bigger set of Pokemon. It came out last year at the end of 2019, and even to this day, with the Pokemon almost pretty much calling it that they're not going to be printing any more of these types of cards, there is a specific card called the Shiny Charizard, and that is the card right now that is still crazy. But that being said, if you don't want Charizard, a lot of the other cards in that set, specifically like the evolutions, if you're familiar with that term, there's like a Leafeon, a Jolteon, Glaceon, Umbreon. The full art shiny versions of those cards in Hidden Fates are also fetching kind of a high amount right now, especially if you get it graded by a company like BGS or PSA.
Mm-hmm.
So Lee, I got a question for you. You've obviously been in the Pokemon card game a long time. Do you have a favorite set and a favorite card? I see you mentioned Squirtle a lot as one of your favorite Pokemons on your channel. But favorite card or favorite Pokemon set?
That's the funny thing is because people will ask me, hey, Leonhart, what's your favorite card? Like, which Charizard is going to be your favorite card? I'm like, actually, it's a common Squirtle card from the set Team Rocket that came out in the late 90s.
Yes.
And so
is that the dark Squirtle?
Yeah, Actually, I think it's just Squirtle. Excuse me. It doesn't say the word dark by it because there are some Pokemons in that set that do say like Dark Machamp, Dark Trio. It's just a basic Squirtle card, but he is part of that Team Rocket set. As far as like favorite sets goes, I'm really fond of the E-Series sets. And the E-Series sets are, and actually like not a lot of people know about them for such a set that was like, it's a very, very valuable set right now. Specifically the Skyridge set, which was the final print run of Wizards of the Coast before Pokemon and Nintendo switched just making the cards themselves back in 2003. And the E-Series are a special type of set that were supposed to be used with the Game Boy Advanced e-reader. And the artwork for that set is absolutely phenomenal. Like each card tells a story on itself. But since it was printed in such limited quantities, they are now some of the absolute rarest sets other than the original first edition base set. So for myself, I love Skyridge.
That Skyridge set, you talk about that. That's the, again, I'm the novice here, but like they're like a white shiny refractor on the border. Like it's like a holographic, but it's white and shiny. Am I on something here? Like the Charizard. I know there's a Charizard one from this.
So there is, and it's called the Crystal Charizard. And they do look different, and there is a different type of border on it. So you're right, there is a different border. It's a much more thicker yellow border.
Gotcha.
Which you would use to actually swipe with the Game Boy e-reader way back when that no one actually did that. But there is a Charizard in that set, and there are types of cards called Crystal cards.
Gotcha.
And there's like 6 to 9 of them in Skyridge, and the other sets there were some as well. But those cards are absolutely incredibly rare, especially the PSA 10 or BGS, 9.5 and up grade for those.
Is this set here? Is it these here Skyridge e-reader set?
Yeah, like that would be one of the cards there. That's just the common one. But like,
and what's like the one, the Charizard?
Yeah, just search for Crystal Charizard or that, and we'll see what pops up. Oh wow, yeah, I would put in just Pokemon Skyridge, or just put in Crystal Charizard because that one's from Expedition. Yeah, there it is down there.
Got it. Crystal Charizard.
So there we go. So
holy cow.
But that so,
Pokemon's crazy,
So that
right?
that first one's the reverse foil.
there you
Right?
go. Yeah, there we go. So you're like wondering, okay, so that one's
like that.
19,000, but and then this one looks like it's the actual like holographic version of it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing is, it's like, yeah, that was from fairly.
That art, it really is special.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love the crystal type of Pokemon cards. And it's just crazy because if you look at the sold listings, you can see some from just a couple months ago. And you're like, okay, it may not be as much, but then it looks like this one was just sold maybe like a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the prices keep on jumping of the cards, the graded cards, and especially sealed product as well.
So just switching gears a little bit,
Yeah.
I think going back to your YouTube and your presence and where you are in the Pokemon world in general, obviously I think something pretty much everyone has seen of you in the last few weeks and months has been the first edition Charizard pull.
Mm-hmm.
So again, shameless plug for your YouTube. Please go watch the video. It's incredible.
I'll give myself a little pats on back.
Yeah, incredible video.
It was very awesome, but okay, so
incredible video. So you opened a bunch of packs and boxes that day, but that was one pack, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you opened an original first edition pack, and you pulled out a first edition Charizard Holo. Looked amazing, ready to get sent in. Also, when you were opening it, what is that 3-card trick you did, where like you put the 3 and then you flip them over?
So usually, if I'm like opening up a pack and not like recording or anything, it doesn't really matter. You can just open up the pack. But when you do the card trick, and it's different per set, like some sets only have 9 cards, other ones have 11 cards, so it changes per set. But usually they have 11 cards per pack. You take the back 3 cards and you just move them to the other side. So the last card would be the holographic card, hopefully.
Oh, because it's always in the same spot.
Rare card, or the non-holographic rare card.
Understood.
So it helps it more dramatic purposes, for when you're opening it up online.
For the content.
For the content.
But you got to be careful because some people don't like doing that because it may ruin just one move. You can add some flashes or whitening or whatever.
Yeah. So you open up, you pull the card, you see it, you're pulling it up, you see the fire, you're going up, you see
I instantly knew it. Yeah.
You instantly knew it. And your first reaction, I could see your hand like shaking in the moment. Your first reaction was to put it in the plastic. Mm-hmm. And then you immediately got up and went crazy. So like describe that feeling for me for 1 second.
So the thing is, it was a heavy first edition pack. So I got these packs from a big seller in the UK where they actually flew all the way to the US. They cracked open the box itself. I purchased a ton of packs from them. So this specific pack, I had no idea that there was going to be a Charizard on the inside. I knew there was going to be a holographic, did not think it was going to be the Charizard. So when I was going through the pack, in the pack itself at the time, worth between $7,000 to $10,000 for 11 pieces of cardboard. And I was so crazy, like my hands were sweating. I was going crazy because I haven't opened up a pack like that in years. And when I got to that final card and I saw the 4 out of 102, I was like, this is it. But then when I pulled it over, I was like, I was in shock. I was in disbelief. Like I was not expecting this to happen on that day of pulling the absolute rarest Pokemon card for the English TCG. And then I'm like, I got to put it in a sleeve immediately. No celebrating at all. Like
not at all.
It's like from The Fifth Element where it was like Chris Tucker or something where they're like trying to like put like light the thing and like he was like breathing or something. They're like, no, you can't even breathe. I was not going to breathe right there until I put it in the sleeve.
Yeah, completely delayed like the enjoyment.
And then you got up and absolutely lost your mind.
It was crazy. And of course, like the video went like viral on like all platforms. And it goes to show just how crazy like Pokemon is when you pull like a card like that, especially the Charizard card. But to this day, like I still have absolutely no idea like how I got so lucky to pull that card. Yeah, that is amazing. Like the absolute rarest one.
So coming out of that video goes super viral. It's posted everywhere. Like my mom sent it to me, which is like bananas. So like you get that card and then you're getting ready to send it in. So then I'll let you tell the rest of the story. It's one of the most unfortunate things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Well, if I may shed a tear during this, and what you're seeing right now is me trying to be my most optimistic self, because it has been over a month now where there was lots of sitting in disbelief, staring at a wall during that first month. But what I did is I sent the card to get graded by Professional Sports Authenticators, or PSA, located in Anaheim, California. And I decided to ship it the most safest way you can do but I unfortunately went to USPS to send it out. My one where I usually go, I know the person that works there, but he doesn't know that I like what I was sending or anything. Like nothing on the box or anything was marked, and it went missing. And it got scanned. I won't say where it got scanned last, but it got scanned at a place. And ever since then, it's been over a month. The package is missing. And I can't give shade to my Crystal Nidoking, which I also pulled during that opening. It's an over $2,000 card. That was also in that box as well. And that card was also, I think, in an amazing condition. So my Crystal Nidoking, $2,000. Charizard card, potential $55,000 card. Just like that, it vanished. And I had sent it the most safest way you can possibly send something via the USPS. And I'm telling you, I have been contacting the most high up people that you can contact to try to find it. So why I'm trying to remain optimistic is I've had a lot of people telling me that they have had packages that have gone missing for months and then show up. Or right now, because of the current virus situation, the specific distribution center in California is absolutely backlogged right now, where there are packages that are just getting delayed and delayed. And that being said, I still send it the safest and fastest way. Mm-hmm. But at this time, I don't know exactly what happened to it. I'm just trying to remain optimistic that my $55,000 card and the Nidoking card will eventually just turn up, whether it be at PSA or, coming back to me.
Yeah. So, like, it's pretty much just how it is, right? Like, it's just in USPS, like, gone. I'm sure you said you contacted them. Like, there's nothing really that you can do other than just wait, right?
No, I'm going. Hey, man, I used to be an attorney before. I'm going to my local congressman.
Gonna lawyer him.
Yeah, I'm lawyering up. No, I am going to be going to my local congressman and stuff.
Good.
Who I actually we personally know him, but at the same time, I have been in contact with higher ups at USPS who are currently trying to look into it more so than anything. So I'm going to first give them a little bit more time, but it's like, I know I made a mistake. But you couldn't fly out there at the time.
It's like yes and no. Like it's just so unfortunate. Like it's a crazy like series of events. But hoping for the best for you on that for sure.
Switch gears a little bit to some positivity, a little bit of happiness. Something that I think struck me when you just like even you started off and it was like you made a YouTube channel because you saw that as a path and you tested some different things and then you hit and you land on your passions there, right? And to my understanding, you then through this journey have been able to meet a ton of people, work directly with Pokemon themselves. Talk to me a little bit about the manifestation of that. Of you try to embark on this new kind of journey, creating content. You find your passion, and then it really leads to all types of awareness, brand deals, etc. What's that been like? And then specifically, what's it been like working with Pokemon, the brand? I think something that maybe not necessarily seems so foreign, but maybe like closed off or like mythic in terms of actually working with them and how they operate. I think a lot of the early days, Japanese company comes over and kind of weren't able to touch it or feel it. What's that been like working with them as a company?
Well, I'll tell you what, if I told my 15-year-old self that I'd be working with Pokemon, I'd be going crazy, like running around the room. And I'm still going crazy right now because I still believe I actually get to, as recent as last week, talk to the marketing team for Pokemon Company. And, them actually kind of listening to what I had to say. And it started a few years ago where I had wanted there to be a better relationship between Pokemon Company and people like myself and other influencers, because it always has been kind of like a locked vault, like a Fort Knox type of thing of the relationship with Pokemon. Yeah. So I had actually just had reached out to them and they were like, "Hey, Leonhart, we all here at Pokemon, we actually love all your videos and we watch them all the time." And I'm like, "Well, fantastic. Let's get a better relationship going right now." And so I was like, and this was last year, and I was on a whole conference call with the marketing team, their PR company and everything, giving them some ideas. And I'm like, they're not going to listen to anything I'm saying. I'm just, it's a $1 billion IP, like the most successful toy franchise IP in the world. Why are they going to listen to somebody like me? Literally like a month later, they're like, hey, we thought you would like this idea. Well, we're going to fly you out and to Pokemon Worlds, which is like the Super Bowl of Pokemon card competitive TCG tournaments. Last year, it was in DC, and they flew me out to be like the official Pokemon card influencer ambassador, I guess you can say, but just as a way to not only meet the whole marketing team in person, but to just take in the whole event, do some content around the whole tournament that was going on, around all of the other events that were going on, as a way of like a little starting point of the relationship between the Pokemon company and people like myself, influencers like myself, to keep on making that stronger. And of course, with the whole virus situation going on right now, there was going to be another Pokemon Worlds. It was going to be in London, I believe, or the UK this year. And of course, that had to be postponed to the following year. But I was going to be going there and potentially doing something like absolutely massive via live stream in honor of hitting 1 million subscribers. It was going to be amazing, but we'll table that to next year. But I just want to quickly mention, I was on the show American Ninja Warrior last year.
Yep.
And we, Pokemon Company actually sponsored myself when I was on the show. So before I actually got and ran the course and did an amazingly terrible job of running the course, I actually opened up a pack of Pokemon cards and stuff, and Pokemon had sent out a bunch of stuff for all my friends and family to wear in the stands. So I've just been trying to like promote the brand. It's like Pokemon, so you associate it with a certain type of mentality, but it's like I've tried to promote it just across, like, I know it's already a big brand. I don't even know what I'm trying to say now, but I just, what I'm trying to say, like, I'm trying to.
Yeah, of course.
It's not just like dorky collecting the cards or playing the Game Boy game. Like, it's a massive brand that has changed so many lives throughout the entire world. And it's like, I just want to keep on expanding that. Like, ambassador.
And to be honest, like, it excites me tremendously because I think there's two ways to look at things or relationships with brands or a lot of times, to your point, there's this like Fort Knox, like closed off, like we don't talk to our community that sometimes people like aspire to, right? Like this untouchable nature. But then actually, like, to hear that they are going through the motions and starting to make inroads with the community, starting to listen to those insights, I actually think creates an amazing upside and excitement for 25th anniversary next year and continuously and ongoing. And I think it really shows that what I think the mass public probably thinks of, to your point, $1 billion IP, they just think of Pokemon of old, that it's not something that's still going on, that they're not still producing amazing games, one of the most successful mobile games of all times, that they're not still creating new, anime series and fresh content, that they're not still putting out all of these different things. And on top of it, working to build inroads with the community. And I think for us in the card subset and thinking about it in investing, there's still so much upside and still so much new. And it doesn't necessarily need to be tied into just buying and collecting the 1999. Like, to your point, the hidden fates, I picked up one of those Charizards. Like, that stuff is going and going good. And this upcoming release, like, people should be thinking about it. And as Twitch streamers, you've seen this pocket of Twitch streamers, people opening packs and kind of the new gaming and esports world getting into it. It's just exciting to me. And I'm pumped, that someone like yourself is able to kind of take a front seat and help kind of shepherd that community into it. So congrats and big up on that for sure.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that. Thank you.
So Tyler, I want to switch gears here with Lee for a second here. So Lee, as you mentioned earlier, you used to be an attorney, and you obviously have this massive YouTube following now. And as someone that I quit my full-time job to pursue my passion and open my own business. So someone that did it, as you did that yourself, I wanted to know if you could give any advice for someone that has a passion or is thinking about turning their passion or hobby into a full-time business. What would be some advice you would give someone knowing what you know now, as you gave up, an attorney to follow this full-time?
Well, I would say first is always try to make the most calculated decision that you can do, and calculating the risk reward type of thing, because like I was an attorney before, and I was for months and months not only having to convince my wife but myself, is this the right decision of leaping, of quitting my job, safe, secure job, and doing something that has never been done before. You're opening up pieces of cardboard on online and stuff, and that's what you're going to be doing full time. But that being said, I made the absolute right decision because I was able to invest 100% of my time into building my brand, into building that specific business. So when I tell people, like when people ask me like, I really like wanting to do this, or when you just your question right now, like if I want to go after one of my passions, it's like, I always say, start slowly, because if you don't start, nothing's ever going to happen. And that's what I did. I made my first video after delaying it back in 2014. But I'm like, you know what? If I don't start now, I'm going to regret it in the next 2 months, the next 3 months of where I would have been if I didn't, start filling out those forms to get my new shop up and running or something like that. Or just to start doing some research on whatever you want to do in life. I always say, just start doing some baby steps. Start, slowly progressing into set some smaller goals. So each time you hit that goal, you feel accomplished, and to where you can eventually get to that longer goal at the end of the road, whether that be, setting up shop somewhere, setting up your new online business, or, whatever type of entrepreneurship type of thing that you want to do. Always just kind of slowly get to it to where, you can still have your safe, secure job or whatever else you're doing. Because obviously, we need the money to continue buying food and, for our house and everything. Because you don't want to just jump right into it. Because I've seen some people do that before, where they kind of just quit and give up everything for it, which is fantastic because you're willing to go for it and you're eager, but it's just not the right decision. So my advice is just to set some small goals, set a long goal every single day. Just commit like maybe 1% at least. And you'll eventually, at the end of the week, that's a whole 7%. That's 14% after 2 weeks. You're eventually going to get there.
Yep.
Great advice.
So just like, wrapping things up here, thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. In the past, like I want to go past, I want to go future. So first, tell me your top 3 favorite Pokemon, any set, any generation. Like, who's your top 3? Squirtle number 1, I imagine, but.
Well, so my favorite Pokemon, they're all like common Pokemon. They're not rare. Like,
that's fine.
Well, so Squirtle is number 1. Natu from Gen 2 is a famous saying on my channel, Natu, how do you do? Whenever I pull that card. But it's just a card, so you're pulling it all the time. But as far as like this, those are just from favorite Pokemon. But as far as like you were asking, like specific cards that I really like a lot, that is that Team Rocket Squirtle is one of my favorite cards. There's a lot of like trainer cards out there. There's a specific one called Pokepark that's in a set called Neo Destiny, which is also one of the most popular sets in the world. Which, if you take a look at it, it really has some incredible artwork and illustrations on the card. But that's just a type of trainer card. For specific Pokemon cards, the funny thing is I really don't have like a top 10 super favorite card, because maybe one month I'm like really liking this card because of how that artwork makes me feel. Because I'm kind of relating to the artwork of that specific card. I know I'm a huge dork right now describing.
Not at all.
Like obviously the Team Rocket one, the Squirtle one is the one that's just always going to stand time and be my favorite one, just because it reminds me of the time I was at like a local swimming pool, not the same one, but from before when I got the Sega Genesis, and I would just trade cards with friends.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
And that's what
at the pool club. Yep.
It's exactly it. And it's like you would trade your like Charizard holographic for like a Machop common card. You would have no idea just because you liked how Machop was like.
And the guy's like running off like, I just killed this kid.
Yeah, and so that's what it's about when I see like that Squirtle card. It really just brings me back to about the good days. Now I will say I do have a PSA 10 first edition Charizard card, and I originally my goal, I had sold a lot of my sealed boxes like Sky Ridge and Aquapolis and stuff way back when, to try to pay for a PSA 10 Charizard. And I got one, and I tried saying like, no more. I'm not buying any more cards for Pokemon, anything. I'm done collecting. This Holy Grail card right here is going to be the card that reminds me of my childhood, of like the time trading with friends. And I'm done. No more spending money on it. I've bought so much. I know. It did not stop me. It did not stop me. But has it been a good decision? Absolutely. It's been a good thing to invest in. It's like gold right now, essentially.
Yeah, you have a gigantic wall behind you full of stuff that you probably bought after the fact. But so then my last question I would say is 25th anniversary. We've talked about it a lot this conversation. What would you say is like one prediction you have for next year? Whether it be like a release, another game they're gonna either bring back or start over. Like, what do you think?
So the funny thing is, I really hadn't been thinking about the 25th anniversary because I've just been so fixated on this year and my journey to keep on building up the brand and everything. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this year's big because we'll hit 1 million subscribers. But next year, the whole brand, the whole community, the whole world is going to go crazy for the 25th anniversary, because the 20th anniversary, when they came out with the set Pokemon Generations, which is a very popular set and a bunch of other like fun things, I'm thinking this is the 25th. They got to go absolutely big. They have not released really too much information about what they're doing right now. I'm personally hoping they do another sort of like Evolutions TCG thing, where they kind of re-release a vintage set from Wizards of the Coast, like maybe one of the Gym series sets, like Gym Challenge.
My favorite set.
Gym Challenge is like one of my favorite sets, if not Skyward too. Like they're kind of like universal together, same level. But like I'm thinking they're going to come out for the card game, for instance. I feel like they're going to come out with, of course, different type of celebration cards, which are going to go crazy and go popular with in different types of subsets. But I'm really feeling they're going to come out with another type of release for the main Pokemon TCG that coincides with how they used to release cards back then. Whether it be more type of Shining cards from the Neo sets, Neo Destiny, Neo Revelation, or the Gym Challenge cards where they come out with Gym Trainer holographic cards or something like that. But like how they look like in those older sets.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So at this time, I don't even know what it's going to be, but what I can tell everybody is you better go on the bandwagon right now, because it's going to be crazy next year. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. And they're all going to be looking at your YouTube channel. That's the best part.
I hope. Jump on the bandwagon now. It's fun, and it really does. It really is such an amazing community, and I hope more people come and join it. It's great.
Hell yeah. We'll be helping shepherd alongside you. Thanks again for taking the time, Lee. We're really big fans and appreciate what you do for the community and just the brand in general. And keep enjoying it, keep doing your thing, and holler if we can be of help with anything.
Absolutely,
so appreciate the time, my man.
Follow Leon on YouTube ASAP.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. All right, so that was our interview with Lee Steinfeld, aka Leonhart. Make sure you guys go over to his YouTube page as he approaches 1 million subscribers. Check him out and watch him open some of the rarest Pokemon packs around. So we're going to go right into our next segment. It's going to be something we're going to do over the next couple weeks here. It's called Stump the Shop. Stump the Shop is brought to you by eBay, your #1 stop for buying and selling trading cards and memorabilia. So essentially what we're going to do here is each team, it's going to be myself as my own team, Tyler and Lou as they're going to partner up together, and we're each going to get $1,000, and we're going to spend this $1,000 whenever and on whatever on eBay to try to have the most money at the end of this segment. So again, this is going to be something we will track over the next couple weeks as we continue this podcast. But essentially, we're each getting $1,000, and we're going to see who can turn this into more money. Ideally, Tyler and Lou will, if you're asking from their end, they're going to try to come out on ahead to really, I think one of the things I want to get out of this is this segment will show that you don't, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this, Tyler and Lou, but this segment should be able to show that you don't need 16 years of card knowledge to be able to flip cards and to really, make a little bit of extra income doing this as a side hustle.
Yeah, it's us, Lou, and myself, novices, against your veteran understanding of the game. And the real hope in this is an educational process. Is if we can show an individual, if we can show someone that it's possible to make these margins and how, not on we bought Dwayne Wade and that means you need to go buy Dwayne Wade. It's why did we buy Dwayne Wade? What factors went into that purchasing decision that can be taken across any aspect of business, any arbitrage game, and apply it there. And if our failures and successes can be a roadmap for others, whether it's in sneakers or calls or handbags or watches or garage sailing, amazing.
Yeah, I think that's crucial. We're going to show with our two strategies here, because they're going to be different. We're really going to be able to show that there's not just one way to go about this. We're going to go about this completely different ways, I think. again, I haven't heard your whole strategy yet. So I think this will be intriguing that we're going to do this 2 different ways. And both of them may be successful. Both of them are going to have flaws and things, hiccups in the road. And we'll be able to show that to other people, to the listeners.
And going right into that, Lou, you want to start it off a little bit, how you're thinking about things?
Yeah. I'm going to open with, it's going to be really awkward when we beat Ryan at something that he has devoted his life to. But so if you can pull up eBay for me really quickly.
Yeah.
The first thing that I decided to go with, shout out to Leon, shout out to Pokemon in general, was a 1999 Pokemon game, Bulbasaur PSA 9 Shadowless. So I got this card for $225. It was listed at $380. What I ended up doing was going back and forth with the guy.
How did you get it for $225 when it's up for $380?
Well, that was $380 is high. Like he had it at a high list price, and it was with an offer. So that's something that keeps happening in general with Pokemon right now. The market keeps getting reset because there's not that many of these floating around, and then one gets listed and it goes. So, yeah, like I just went back and forth with him. Shout out to I can't see his name there, but I want to say it's Cooper's Cave Paintball, right? Is that what it is?
Top right,
on the right side.
Right over there.
Cooper's Cave Paintball. Yep.
Yep, that's my guy. So I made a deal with him, and basically what I'm thinking with the Pokemon thing is in the next 4 to 6 months, I think we're going to see something really crazy happen with Pokemon. What I want to do is use that as a safety net for my second pick, which is a lot more risky, but I think I'm going to be pretty safe with that money, and that'll appreciate a little bit week over week. And then my second one was a 2018 Optic Tyler Boyd auto, PSA 9, right in your mouth, Ryan. I'm so excited for
you
this.
Think you're going to win buying the Cincinnati?
You hate this. You hate this, and I love this. So my thought here is,
wrap this up.
My thought here is, as more people are entering the hobby in the next year, I think a lot of people are going to say, wait, how come quarterbacks are so expensive and playmakers are not? Ryan, keep laughing.
I agree.
So, I don't disagree with the argument. Julio Jones and Michael Thomas are really good. I'm waiting for this explanation on why Tyler Boyd was the move.
Tyler Boyd was the move because he was $50, number one. That's number one. So $50 for an auto, PSA 9. There were no 10s. I couldn't even find one. So Joe Burrow, I think, is going to have a lot of excitement around him this year. I think the Bengals are going to have a lot of excitement around them in general.
Yep.
And where I think the opportunity with this card is, again, it's a very risky play. The play is I'm going to wait for hope that Tyler Boyd has a big week 1 week with Joe and try to flip it from there. That's like the play with the card. I would never lie and say I think Tyler Boyd's going to be an elite wide receiver prospect going forward, but it's centered around football's coming back, more people coming in. Tyler Boyd has a big week, couple touchdowns, and I can flip that card.
Yeah, I think the definitely the big point there, and where you could definitely really crush this, is the attention. Burrow's number 1 pick, Heisman, a lot of expectations. The Bengals are going to be watched. There's going to be people watching the Bengals because of what they have around them.
Are they going to be good? I don't know. But
yeah, exactly. Are they going to be good? We don't know. But if they are good, and with all the attention on them, and Tyler Boyd blows up, you're definitely sitting pretty there.
It's funny. We're on the same team, Lou, but every single person that's hit me up about anything to do with NFL, I reserve a 10% chance that they don't play till the spring. And so that I just think, so flipping the script to where my side of the strategy is, and this is our internal team meeting. I'm all in. To me, it's a soccer game. It's definitely a soccer game and an NBA game. And I'm thinking about Raw. One of the things that I want to really start to focus my time on in this space is understanding, like DJ, who's in our chat. I'm just so pumped every time I see the ComC screenshot of like bought for $1, sold for $8.50. I'm like, at scale, that's real margins. And I think that those things are hitting quick. I think people can understand the Raw game simpler once it starts to, get more popularized. ComC is only the beginning. We know, I think it was Star Stocks just came out as well. A couple other platforms where it's just buying and selling of Raw, and some of these market factors of goes out and scores 2 goals on his debut for a club, or all of a sudden he gets called up to the English national team, talking soccer, or in game 1 comes out because starting point guard just got coronavirus, tested positive. He's out. All of a sudden, next man up comes out, drops 20 and 12 out of nowhere because he's been working out. I think that can really get interesting. So for me, it's basketball and soccer, younger guys, raw, buying lots and flip.
Yeah, back to our internal team meeting that we didn't have. Literally, my hope and dream was that you were going to buy soccer because I have no idea. And I was like going to try to take advantage of something on the football side where you aren't as tuned in. That was literally my thought process. So I'm so glad you said that.
W, you're finished.
So my strategy for this is going to be not necessarily buying one particular person or card and finding something that I like, a person that I think is going to be, explode like that. So to Tyler's point, Buster Posey opts out. Joey Bart, number 2 or 3 pick a couple years ago, is he the next man up? Right? I'm not going that route. My route is going to be, I've done this searching on eBay, finding underpriced lots and that kind of stuff for years now. So my secret or strategy in this for my internal team meeting is going to be searching eBay, looking for lots that are underpriced with typically poor titles. So I get asked a lot like, hey, how do you find these lots on eBay? What's your tips and tricks? So I'm happy to share these, and we're going to share these right now. So first thing I always do, ebay.com, right? Pull up eBay. Then what I'm searching for is lots, literally just lots, LOTS. So Tyler, if you could search this for me, we're going to search lots on here. And then on the left side where all the categories are, you're going to search sports cards. Sports memorabilia. Then you got to click on like sports trading cards. Yep. So click on sports trading cards. Then I'm searching for buy it nows only. So buy it now on top, filter by that, search newly listed, and then search $100 or more. So I'm not interested in the $4.99 grab bags that someone throws up on eBay with a bunch of 1990s base cards I don't want. So I'm searching for more, typically things that are going to be higher priced. Now, disclaimer, 95 out of 100 things you look at are going to be overpriced, just fielding offers. That's not really what I'm interested in. What I'm looking for here is looking at the pictures and then seeing the price right next to it. I'm looking for things that I think are underpriced. And again, a lot of this comes with doing this for 16 years or 15 years, knowing, having a good understanding of what things are going for. But if you're really big into one market, football, basketball, baseball, soccer, you could filter this down by just your, the sport you're looking for, and it would give you a good idea. So I've purchased some things. I'm going to share my purchases next week, but essentially what I've been looking for here is just listings that I think are underpriced. So what that entails is finding a lot, pricing it all out in like some sort of Google spreadsheet. Like, hey, this is going to sell for this. This is going to sell for this. This is going to sell for this. These are my fees. And if that number makes sense where it's, $1,000 and the lot's $450, I'm going to go buy the lot for $450 because there's going to be room there. One piece of advice I always like to give here, right? Be conservative. If you think a card's worth $100 and sales are at $80, you don't want to price it at $100. You want to price it closer to $70, $75, because if that market trends down and you buy a lot and it comes a week later, that's one thing I like to preface here. So I was really conservative on a lot of my numbers, bought 2 lots. I spent $428. The first lot I found is right here. It's a Garrett. The lot was listed with the title Garrett Cole rookie 9-card autograph mega lot. So there's a couple things wrong with this. The word autograph is not what you typically want to list an item for. It's typically the word auto. Auto will pull up more times than the word autograph. So when you search Garrett Cole auto on eBay, you're going to get a lot more results than you will for Garrett Cole autograph. So the word auto wasn't in the title. It also mentions nothing about the year at all. So there's no year. Garrett Cole's most rookie cards are 2013, some in 2012. So I found a lot. It was listed for like $99 starting bid or $200 buy it now. Went through every single picture. There's 9 cards total. Priced them all out super conservatively. I was like, these sell for $50. I'm saying $42. These sell for $60. I'm saying $50, right? You got to leave yourself room if the market trends up or down. So I priced it all out and I was like, and I think I can make $100 on this. Bought it, right? Soon as I bought it, and this is something I've learned with doing this in time. Soon as I bought it, checked his seller's other items. What else does this person have? If you find one good deal, they might have 2 good deals. They might have 3 good deals. So what else did they have? And that led me to my second lot. 7 card PSA BCCG graded. Tyler, move the screen. Graded lot Clemente Thomas auto. Right? So there's not really a lot there that tells you what it is. So clicked on the lot, same thing. Went through all the pictures, priced it out conservatively. Messaged the seller because he originally had it up for $250. So kind of pulled a trick out of Lou's book. Hey, would you take $220 for this? I already bought this lot. Sure enough, bought it. And that's the route I went.
Love it. So some vintage, some active current, and with Garrett Cole going Yanks, like.
Yep. Garrett Cole Yankees. My expertise isn't in baseball, but I'm looking for things that I think are underpriced from any sport, whether that be baseball, basketball, football, or even hockey. I'm not the Pokémon or soccer expert like you guys. So that's a piece of advice I would give is stick to what you know, and you'll do a lot better if you try to stick to what you know. That's typically where you'll find better lots and
enjoy it, and you'll enjoy it more.
Absolutely. So next week we'll go a little bit more into this. Hopefully, and we'll start tracking sales, seeing how we're doing, what that looks like, and we'll continue this going forward. But this should be a fun segment to monitor over the next couple of weeks and see how this goes. But
we're gonna have to stump the shop.
Stump the Shop is brought to you by eBay.
All right, so this is gonna be something we end kind of every show on every week. Is Rod, what's coming into the shop, new product wise? What's coming out this week? What can people look forward to? What are some of those big products?
Yeah, definitely going to be a big release week. There's a lot of new product. 2 I'm really focused on are going to be Bunslinga Soccer, Topps Chrome 1920, and then Luminance Football 2020. So 2 key points I see in this on why each product I think is going to do really well. Luminance Football is going to be it's going to have Brady's first Buccaneers card in it. So it'll be him pictured in a Buccaneers card. This typically is significant. The hobby is always seeming to focus on first for anything. First year Prism, first year Chrome, first year Refractor, that kind of stuff. So Brady's first Bucs card, I mean, he's played 20 years in New England. Every card's a Patriot. This is going to be a big deal, seeing Brady in those threads. And then Bunslinga has, again, you guys are going to know this better than I do, but Holland.
Yep.
Yep.
Bundesliga.
Yep.
You got to say like you're German, like Bundesliga.
Yeah,
and Holland, who great viral video, got thrown out of the club in Poland the other night.
I didn't see that.
I didn't see that either. Who did?
Holland.
He did?
Yeah.
That's
the old Snapchat video that goes viral.
The classic Snapchat viral video.
Yeah. But anyways, he has autos in this. And if you've seen anything from Topps Finest Soccer, his base rookie cards, non-autograph, non-refractor, just base rookies from there do about $100. I saw a purple refractor at $250 sell for $600. Refractor variation rookie sells for $1,000. Those are not autographs. So he's gonna have an autograph in this, and that it's definitely gonna be a chase card of that product for sure.
Luminance has like the cool artwork, right? I can't remember off the top of my head, but I feel like Luminance, the cards are like nicer looking.
I don't know about any cool artwork per se in those. They'll have like draft day, they're like draft ink autos or draft day ink autos. They're going to be on card rookie autos from a lot of these guys. So that'll be big. Yeah,
it does. It has like their names are in like cursive. Like it's like nice looking.
Yep, on card stuff. So that will do well. Again, anything, assuming it is actually on card this year. I know in the past years it's been on card. If it's on card this year, that'll do well.
It looks like a sticker on here, but yeah.
But yeah, Brady in the Buccaneers jersey will definitely help. And then Obsidian Basketball, just another expensive higher end release for basketball, comes out this week. And then Stature Hockey. So big release week, but the soccer and
you got to throw like hockey in there at the end, like hockey.
Well, it's worth noting.
And also hockey.
I'm gonna become the biggest hockey collector in the entire world.
You and 4 other people.
Stevie Eiserman.
I saw a good amount of hockey. Hockey's big. I'm sure it does better where there's markets for hockey, but yeah, that is it for us for episode number 2. Appreciate y'all watching. Feel free to follow me on Instagram or most socials at Card Collector 2. And then Tyler, Lou, any last thoughts?
Good week. Have another one. Be curious.
Thank you everyone for the super good feedback on episode 1.
Yes.
We're having a lot of fun with it. We're going to get better every week. Appreciate any feedback. Follow Card Talk Pod.
That's a good point. Before we end, we did not say this. If you have questions for next week, please feel free to send those to us. It's Card Talk Pod on Instagram or Twitter, and it's cardtalkpod@gmail.com. So cardtalkpod@gmail. Send us your questions. We will get to those hopefully on the next episode. But that's it for now. See you guys next week.